Hello and welcome to Keele University. Today's webinar is going to be all about the international student experience at Keele. I'm Sam, and for today's webinar I'm joined by two of our international students. We have Ada and Alison with us in the studio today. Do you want to both introduce yourselves?
Yes, hi everyone, my name is Ada, I'm from Nigeria and I'm on the MSc Counseling and Psychotherapy course here in Keele University.
Hi, I'm Alison, I'm from Hong Kong and I'm doing the Integrated Masters Physiotherapy course.
Fantastic. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about kind of the international student experience. Got a few questions prepped here that we're going to talk through. But if anybody watching has got any questions for us, either for Ada or Alison, or anything general about studying at Keele as an international student, you can pop them into the comments and we'll try and answer as many as we can towards the end of the session. Bear with us, because if we don't get to your question, we'll try and do as many as we can. If there's anything really specific that you have a question around in terms of your application or your offer, that might be best that we deal with perhaps talking to our admissions team directly, but we'll try and answer as many as we can. So if we start in general terms, how you guys have both found the experience of studying in the UK. Ada, I don't know if you want to answer that one first.
So yeah, in general, I found it I think it was in phases, obviously because, you're coming from a new country and then I came just straight to school. So it was like there was time to settle down and then there's time where I felt like I was like settled. And if I was to use one word, I would say it's just amazing, to be honest. Yeah, that's it. I could give more details later, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been in the UK for quite a while, but I think going into uni life is definitely a huge difference from going from school to uni. I think you just get more freedom to explore everywhere, explore yourself a bit more. Yeah, it's just quite fun.
Okay. I mean, sorry, in terms of like when you first arrived in the UK, any kind of like big culture shocks? How have you kind of found living in the UK? Anything you particularly really love about studying in the UK?
So for me, I think when I came, it was September. So the cold, it was cold. And the thing is, I think your body kind of just adjusts to it as the time goes on. So initially it was really cold, and then next thing I was walking outside without my jacket as if it was nothing. And then in terms of like maybe culturally, like the shock, I would say maybe back home, even at the university level, you kind of like have to address your lecturers as Professor this and Mr. this, and you can't just call them by first name. And I'm like, wow, this is really open. You can really just have a chat like with your lecturer and it's like just fine. So that's quite different from back home.
Yeah, I think that's quite the same for me as well, because back home you have to dress like sir, madam, and here you're just friends.
Friends, yeah.
Okay, it's nice. I mean, we touched a little bit on things like that kind of academic style and being a little bit different. I mean, in terms of Keele itself, how have you both found sort of the actual studying part of it? How have you, adapted to kind of studying at university level?
Well, okay, you can go first.
I think it's quite a lot of independent learning.
Yeah.
You kind of find your own style of learning, and they kind of also teach you about the different styles of learning, and then you can again like explore it yourself. I think that develops quite a lot of like critical thinking as well, rather than just memorizing everything from like a textbook or like what you read online.
Yeah, I think what she said about the learning styles is kind of true for me, because for me, I find that I need to be like in the library, for example, to be able to really get into my work. Like when I'm in my room, I just can't like do the work as much as when I'm in the library, when I'm just around people and things like that. So I guess, yeah, you do learn about your learning styles, and I think you get a lot of support as well. So if you kind of are struggling, there's like the academic skills where you could go to and talk to them and say, I don't really understand what they expect of me, because I think just like she said, it's not really you kind of have to demonstrate that you understand. So it's not like you have to memorize and then churn it back out. You have to kind of understand to show that I understand it. So if you're not used to that learning style, it's good to like maybe go to like your lecturer or your supervisor, whoever. We have like a skills tutor in my course, or you could go to the academic skills. I don't know what it's called. It's like a unit that really helps anyone that needs it, and they would explain to you what exactly is expected from you in that particular assignment. So it's really helpful in that way.
Yeah, and they do kind of like writing, like academic writing workshops
Yeah, exactly.
and those sorts of like things to support you to develop your academic writing and
that is
academic
actually really
reading
good,
and that sort of that side of things to develop those skills in terms of how to prepare, you know, a report or, you know, paper that you might be working on.
They tailor it to like your report. So like you book like a meeting with them, and then they'll ask you like, okay, show me what we've got right now. And then they'll point out like, okay, what you can add and what you don't need for this assignment. And you show them your assignment brief as well. And they understand it quite well, quite quickly.
Oh, brilliant. So when we touched a little bit on kind of the academic side and some of the academic support there, in terms of, you know, studying at Keele in general, Ada, you mentioned the library. I mean, what are some of your kind of favourite places on campus? Where do you like to spend your time?
Well, the library. Actually, so my thing is, it depends on, so if I'm alone, strangely, I actually like to go, so the library has like a basement where there's like a sitting area. Nobody knows this, but now maybe more people will know this. Like when I want to just really go off by myself, that's usually my place that I like to go to. And then for outdoors, especially now that the weather is like nicer, I think the area around the lake is really nice. Yeah, that's those are my places. If I'm with other people, like I'm feeling like I want to socialize at this point, then probably KPA. Yeah, KPA is nice for like socializing, right?
Yeah, we like the KPA. And the like around Keele Woods as well. There's like places to sit. It's just really nice, especially on a good day out.
It's nice that you've both mentioned the KPA because obviously, you know, we've got one postgraduate student here and one undergraduate student. And for anyone watching who's wondering, what's the KPA? So the KPA is Keele Postgraduate Association. So we have a students' union essentially for postgraduate students, but they have their own building on campus and the KPA Clubhouse. And that's kind of, it's a bar, come restaurant, come coffee shop, come music venue, and they do sort of different things throughout the year for postgraduate students there. Quite a kind of a social hub for postgraduate students on campus, but it is open to everybody. So postgrads can go in, students, staff, you know, people in the community can come and get a drink or something to eat in the KPA. So it's a quite nice little hub, and it's just sort of off from the centre of campus. Tucked kind of towards, as you get towards Keele Hall and the lakes and all of the woodlands there, but it's very close in terms of where the centre of campus and the shops and the students' union and that kind of thing, isn't it? So it's a nice venue there. In terms of you mentioned a little bit about like some of the academic support, but has there been any other support that you've had or that you think has been beneficial as an international student in terms of helping you to either settle into life at Keele or with your studies or anything like that?
I think maybe like in the first year, when I was like moving into accommodations, the accommodation team, I think they were quite helpful because they were quite like efficient with like getting you in, like making you like settled into your room and stuff. And then there's also like residential advisors, like the residential people who can like help you and your flatmates to get along.
Yes, it must feel like quite a long time because you're kind of the end of your fourth year now. I remember like that resident advisor really like helped us get along with each other within the flat.
they were like really nice people anyways in the flat, but I think that really helped with settling into uni, really. Yeah.
So that's obviously, we've got lots of accommodation on campus at Keele, and there is about 2,600 bedrooms, and all of our students who live on campus have got access to residence life team, essentially, and so there's a resident advisor in every block, and that's usually a student who's a resident advisor, and they're trained to kind of support other students who are living on campus in those blocks. But I enjoy that as well, you know, like at the beginning, and when everyone kind of moves in, everybody sits down and has like a sort of flatmate agreement and gets to know one another. But that resident advisor is there also if you needed any additional support with anything, and they can be there. And then obviously you've got within like the residence life team, there's other people who are available. And then within your schools, you've got your student experience and support officers and teams who, if you needed some support with something, they, you know, can be there to signpost you to other things as well. And that's obviously, I mean, Ada, you said, you know, you don't live on campus, you live off campus, but that obviously that level of support, if you needed something from an academic point of view or other support services, they'd be there again to signpost to you, wouldn't they?
Now that I live off campus as well, there's like a Ask team. Yeah. They do like legal advice, free legal advice, and it's quite good to go to them because they really help you and follow up with your like situation and stuff.
Yeah, are they part in the Students' Union?
They're in the Students' Union.
Yeah, and stuff like this. Brilliant. So kind of related a little bit, so those are some of the support. Obviously a really big part of anyone, you know, thinking about going to university might be around careers, what they're going to do after they graduate and when they're going to finish. So have either of you engaged with the careers team at Keele, and how have you felt that that's been?
I have. So when I first came in, I wanted to actually get a part-time job. So obviously I have one with the Keele digital social media team. Yes, which I love, by the way. I love it. So, but then I also wanted to do something else just to kind of like use my skills as well, and have something else that I'm doing outside, get like a little pocket money as well. So I had to reach out to the careers team. And then we kind of had like a meeting with one of the advisors. So he was able to kind of go through my CV and see like what I could do, and kind of also have to change it because I think it's a bit different sometimes, maybe if you're from a different country, like what is usually expected. Because I found out when I went, had that session with him, that you need to kind of tailor your CV for the particular job that you're applying for, not just like a generic one. And so he kind of just gave me tips on how to kind of structure my CV and gave me ideas for how to actually search for a job, like a part-time job. So I haven't actually gone back again to say, you know, give me ideas for what I want to do afterwards, because I'm aiming to be a therapist. So obviously, once I'm done, I need to also kind of like start thinking about, do I want to go into private practice? Do I want to work somewhere, get some experience? So yeah, but the experience was really, really helpful. Just having someone to kind of like guide you and let you know what is available in town, what you're doing wrong and not wrong. And then there's also a portal for part-time jobs. Like, so if you wanted to go, say you just wanted to work like in a restaurant for like the weekends or something, they have jobs around town that are kind of targeted at students here. And I have some friends that have gotten a job from that portal as well. So there's like there's career support as well.
Brilliant. Yeah. How about you, Alison?
Yeah, I've got like support from them as well. I think they've organised a careers fair for for us like final year like physios. Yeah. Where they like brought in different like NHS trusts, and so we just go around and like kind of introducing ourselves,
and that was,
making contact.
Specifically just for physiotherapy students?
Yeah, but I think they do a lot for like just general allied healthcare as well, and even other courses really. And yeah, CV as well, they help with that. They have a whole website on how to build your CV. Yeah. And then they have like an interview portal as well, where they use like AI, and you can practice interviewing.
Interview technique.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, you both sort of talked a little bit, I guess, about like kind of part-time work at Keele. You said part-time work in the local area. You both have worked as ambassadors as well, you know, working with us and you know, doing content for social media. Ada, you mentioned some of your friends kind of working in the local area. What sort of roles are they doing? Is it more in like shops, restaurants, that kind of thing?
So my friend got a job on the portal. It was for a hotel that is in Stoke. It's not so close, but they have a staff bus, and then it's like they have like a theme park and things like that. So I think I don't know what exactly he does. I think he works at the reception of the hotel.
Oh, okay. Alton Towers?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I actually applied for that job. I think the first month that I came, but the day of the interview I had a lecture. So and she said she couldn't reschedule. So I got something else anyway, which I think I love it because it's more. So I work for it's called Student Cribs. It's like a lettings agency for students. And basically all I have to do is just do viewings in my free time because it's like, and I love it because it works around my studies.
Yeah.
So if I'm available, I just pick up whatever viewings they have and just basically just talk to people, say, this is what the house looks like, and feel like I'm a real estate agent, and that's it.
So different kind of options, I guess, in terms of fitting it around your study, whether you're undergraduate or postgraduate. I think some of our students will work at Alton Towers. For anybody watching who's wondering what's Alton Towers and why am I so excited about it, so it's a theme park that is close by to Keele, probably maybe 40-minute drive, I'd say, something like that. But it's one of the biggest theme parks in the UK. So big kind of roller coasters. It's got a couple of hotels and a water park in one of the hotels as well. So it's it's a great day out. For sure. Okay, so another thing we've got here is a question we've prepped already, was around kind of the social side of things and how you found kind of meeting people, making friends. Did you join any societies, member of any sports clubs, teams? How did you go about, you know, meeting people when you arrived at Keele?
So like in the beginning, I wanted to like go to every society, want to go to everything, want to try everything, but there just wasn't time. So I joined Ultimate Frisbee in the first 2 years of being at Keele. And I think it's good because I get to try a different sport to what I normally do, and we get to go to different places in the UK to go to competitions or even like just friendly matches and things. But then after the 2 years, I think I got a lot more busy, so we just make friends on the course because we pretty much see each other every day on the physio course. I don't know if that's the same for you.
So for me, I think my primary way that I kind of connected with people was on my course, first of all, because we are quite a large cohort, like we talked about that. So that's the first way I met people. And then also in the area that I was living, like people who were living in my building and things like that, I made friends with them. With the societies, I joined one society, and that's because it's the art society, because I like art. So and I want to try and develop that skill. So I was like, let me just join some other people who are doing art. But I think maybe just like what she says, I think maybe because I'm postgraduate, I'm finding it maybe not so easy to be like one of the top participating members of the society, but I still attend the events that they have, and it's been good. I've learned things, I've met people there as well. But still my primary way I would say was on the course itself and just people who lived around me. So
and also like living on campus on like the first 2 years, definitely like kept in touch with people who were in the same flat.
Bro? Okay, so before we go to, we've had quite a few questions come in, I think, from people who are watching. So thank you for those. We'll try and get through some of those. If you've got one tip to an international student who's thinking of coming to study at Keele, what would your top tip for them be? Ada, do you want to answer that one first?
Yes, I would say your community matters so much because I think for the local or home students, they kind of have like maybe their friends from uni, their family, some of them may not live too far away. So they kind of already have their community really, but you may be feeling a little bit lonely because you don't have your family's really so many miles away and you don't know anyone, you don't have a network here. So I would say join like your local church or join a local because we have a chapel here. Join the societies, make an effort with people. Like I mean, sometimes people are shy to speak to you, but you just have to go and say hi, and you never know, you could just connect with someone. So I have my placement, for example, with my course, we have to do a placement, and then I had to do like a training. And I just met a girl there who was leaving from another school, and she's like a trainee counselor as well. And we just hit it off for some reason. She's French. I speak a little bit of French, and then we were just speaking. We found we had so much in common, and then we planned to meet up in summer. So you really have to kind of like, just even if you're shy, just try to, it makes your experience a lot more better when you have people. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I think mine would probably be similar to that, like explore, you don't have to wait for anyone.
Oh, that's
you can just go explore yourself, go like even out of Keele, like just go travel in the UK.
Where have you been to in the UK? Where your kind of favourite places been?
Quite like Cornwall.
Cornwall?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite far, but
From Keele it is, Cornwall's quite
but it
far.
is quite nice. Or just go up north. A lot of people go to Edinburgh during like Easter
Again,
and stuff.
Edinburgh is quite a long way from Keele, but it's a lovely part of Scotland.
Yeah, if we want to go closer, like Manchester, Nottingham. Where else? Just around the Midlands, really.
Yeah. I think Manchester is a popular one. I go to Manchester quite frequently, so
because there's like just a direct train from Stoke to Manchester, so it's quite convenient.
Yeah, it doesn't take. It's about
it's
half an hour, 40 minutes on the train.
45 minutes,
to get to Manchester. Yeah. So it's and obviously a big kind of city. Got quite a good music scene and all that sort of stuff going on there.
Yeah. Even the train to like London is quite convenient. It's like one change or like no change sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think from Stoke you can probably do it in about 90 minutes to London, I think.
Yeah.
On the fast train. So it's pretty good. And it's obviously, lots of people will be knowing that there's so much to kind of see here in London.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. You like that Cornwall. I love Cornwall.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I haven't had a chance yet. But I will.
Yeah.
I've been saying that. Oh, when it's summer, I'm going to try and do a lot of things. The friend I told you about, she lives in Brighton, so I was like, I want to go to Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton's great in the
nice,
summer.
yeah.
It's like all along the beachfront and when it's sunny.
So I can't. I'll do everything. Yeah. But I mean, I have a friend as well that kind of came up with this suggestion. He's a student here, and he was like, we have like a weekly bus pass. So when you buy your bus pass for the week, you can go anywhere within the Potteries area. And he was like, why don't we just like pick one place? Like you could go to like Trentham Gardens. There's like a monkey forest actually that has actual monkeys. So we plan to like actually just see the places around here as well, because it's just like you said, the time just passes and you're like, oh, I need to study, I need to do this. But when you leave the area, you realize you never really explored.
Yeah.
And then someone comes in to see you for like 2 days and they do everything, and you live here for like 9 months, 12 months, and you didn't do anything. So exploring is a good
I like that idea. Just like pick a place on the bus pass and just sort of get around
go,
there.
and
And go and have a look at it all. Yeah, because there's there's lots going on in the local area to Keele, like you
Yeah.
say, on that kind of Potteries bus pass. You can get to all sorts of different places. I have been to the Monkey Forest.
Yeah.
I need to
It's
do
quite
it.
nice. When my kids were a bit smaller, they loved the Monkey Forest, and they literally will just walk
Yeah.
right in front of you.
But they are not mean, right?
No, they're not. And they're carrying like the little babies, and
Yeah.
they walk
So
straight in
cute.
front of you, down at Trenton Gardens.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, right, we'll have a look. We've got some questions here. There's quite a few questions I can see that are quite specific about offers and IELTS levels. Lots of information around that's going to be on our course pages. So for the specific course that you're interested in, if you haven't applied yet, you'll be able to see what the entry requirements are, and then linked from that will be the English language requirements. The English language requirements page has got all of that information on in terms of what IELTS levels and what equivalencies that you might need. So have a look at the course pages and have a look at those English language entry requirements page. If you've got a specific question around your offer or a course that you're interested in and you're not sure what you're doing there, if you email our inquiries team, so it's inquiries@keele.ac.uk, they'll be able to have a look into that for you if there's anything that you're not quite clear on from an IELTS point of view. And if it is that you've already made your application and you haven't had an offer from us, you will, again, there'll be details in your offer letter of what it is that we're asking for and any then evidence that you need to provide to us of that. That should all be detailed in your offer letter. But if there's something that you're unsure of or you need any support with that, you can contact our admissions team, and that'll be admissions@keele.ac.uk. So let's have a little look at some questions. So we've got questions about offers and IELTS. So someone asking, what's the food situation like?
What's that mean?
Our accommodation on campus isn't catered. So all of the accommodation, if you're living on campus, is self-catered. So there'll be kitchen facilities, obviously depending on the type of accommodation you're in. You might be sharing with 4, 6, 8, 20 people, depending on kind of the size of the accommodation block and what type of accommodation you've chosen. In terms of obviously the catering options on campus, what are your favourite places in terms of food?
I like Chancellor's.
Okay.
Chancellor's got loads of hot food, home comforts.
Yeah.
What else? KPA's got food.
Yeah.
Even the student union as well.
Yeah.
They have like some nice wraps over there. But I think the place I eat the most is at Chancellor's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Chancellor's, it's one of the central buildings on campus. It's kind of a big sort of like catering kind of canteen, refectory kind of thing. It's like lots and lots of seating available, isn't there? And there's lots of different kind of hot food options. And there's like a little sandwich shop next to it as well.
Right next to
It's
it.
like a
and a coffee
Costa
shop.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've got Students' Union, KPA, and then if you're just kind of grabbing something,
Co-op.
there's the Co-op, there's the Greg's.
Greg's as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also go to, sometimes when I don't want to have like a proper meal, like I'd either go to Co-op and get like a sausage roll or something, or to Greg's as well. They always have hot food too, like maybe sandwiches and things like a ham and cheese, something light.
Yeah. And then I guess, if Alison, you've lived in halls on campus. How did you find that in terms of cooking with your flatmates?
I think it was quite all right because I didn't really cook, but like I lived in Holy Cross and the Oaks, and I shared with there's like 8 people in the flat, so it's like 8 people sharing the kitchen, but there's like 2 sides of it, so it's basically like 4 and 4, and there's only like maybe 2 or 3 people who actually cooked, and not everyone's gonna be there at the same time, so it's fine. Like you're not fighting over anything. I'm not sure about other halls.
Yeah, so we've got, in terms of like our accommodation on campus, there's different room types. So if you have a look on our website, keele.ac.uk/accommodation, all of the different room types that we've got available are on there, and it will detail things like whether we've got ensuite rooms and standard plus rooms and shared flats and houses, things like that. You're sharing with a different number of people depending on the type of room that you apply for. But yeah, they've all got that central kind of kitchen space. But if you're in a larger hall that's sharing with more people, the kitchen's not like your typical kind of kitchen you would have in your house at home. It's a kitchen that's like a big space that's got multiple cookers and multiple sinks and multiple fridges and freezers and all that kind of stuff. And so it's big enough for everyone to share. And yeah, like you say, kind of user space. Not everyone's going to be in there at the same time. People have different schedules for their lectures and things. So some people might be having breakfast at one time and some people later and things like that. And some people like Alison, maybe, I mean, I hope you didn't survive on takeaways for the whole year.
Got Greg's.
Yeah, then obviously there's also, if you didn't want to cook for yourself, there's lots of options on campus you can go out and get food on campus from. And then kind of not far away, just down in the local town, Newcastle under Lyme, there's some bigger supermarkets as well. So you've got all the usual kind of like Aldi, Lidl, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, Tesco. They're kind of all nearby in the local town. Someone's asked, what's the best accommodation hall in Keele? Oh, Alison, you've lived in one
Holy
lot,
Cross
so.
and the Oaks. They've all got like the Holy Cross and the Oaks. They all got the ensuite rooms. And I've only ever lived there, so I think it's quite nice. Yeah. But
so they're kind of dotted around campus as well. So we've got 4 areas of halls. So Holy Cross and the Oaks, Lindsay, Barnes and Horwood. And it's like the centre of campus, and then the accommodation is sort of dotted around the outside, and then the campus kind of goes out to 600 acres. But all the accommodation is kind of within like about a 10-minute walking distance, I'd say, of the centre of campus.
I think the furthest one would probably be the Holy Cross and the Oaks.
Is it kind of that end?
Kind of like just a bit away from campus, but it's walkable. Yeah, it's fine.
So there's more questions about offers. Oh gosh, there's lots of questions popping in here. Accommodation offer. So someone asking about accommodation options off campus as well. So we've been through some of the on-campus options. For off-campus, Ada, perhaps you want to take us through that, because obviously you live off campus.
I could help with that. So Keele actually has the Keele Pad.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's like a website called Keele Pad. Is it Keele Student Pad?
Yeah, for the accommodation.
.com. You just have to search it up. So they have, so it's basically a website by the university that kind of like lists local accommodation. So you're either wanting to live in Newcastle under Lyme or Stoke-on-Trent. I live in Stoke-on-Trent. So the difference is Newcastle under Lyme is closer to here. Stoke-on-Trent is a little bit further, but it's closer to the train station. So if you're someone that may want to be getting out of town once in a while, or you have something that you have to do outside of town. And then I think in terms of pricing, Newcastle under Lyme is more expensive than Stoke-on-Trent. But either way, they're both very accessible in terms of coming to campus. So I would say check out Keele Student Pad.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And so, like you just said, I mean, Alison, you've lived off campus as well for a couple of years. And how did you find your off-campus accommodation?
I was with, what's it called? Urban Student Life.
Okay.
So I lived in Orme, which is not far from Keele at all.
Just down in Newcastle. Yeah.
Just literally like at the bottom of the hill. But yeah, that was not quite nice. I had like my own little studio, and it's for people, like just students in general, not just Keele students. Like there's just students from like Staffordshire Uni as well. And now I live with my friends in like a student house in Newcastle.
So there's options, I guess. There's that, in terms of if you want to, there is off-campus accommodation, which is kind of dedicated to be student accommodation, private student accommodation in Newcastle under Lyme and also in Stoke-on-Trent. And then there are like house shares essentially that will be available if a group of students maybe like get to know one another on a course and go and then rent a house together for, sometimes that'd be like second or third year or fourth year or whatever if you're doing a 4-year program. And sometimes I know for postgraduate students they might find a house share that's looking for, you know, a flatmate for a year and kind of find that way.
But I mean, can I just say something? I think the one thing that maybe some people may have to think about when you want to go off campus. So when you're on campus, you don't have to get like a guarantor. But like when you're off campus, they would require you to, most landlords would require you to have someone to kind of guarantee that. I don't know. What is it like?
It's either that or you pay in full.
So that's something to think about.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to pay in full because I have a brother who's here for a long time, so he kind of guaranteed my stay. And everything.
And also like thinking about transport as well. If you don't have a car, you have to think about where's the nearest bus stop. It's usually quite convenient. Like the bus stops in like
once
Newcastle.
you figure out where your bus is supposed to, you'll be fine. But I think usually like the first time is like, oh my god, where am I supposed to be?
So it's always good to like for first years to live on campus first, just so you get a feel of the place. First, I
mean, I have heard of like first years kind of coming to campus and then you're not really leaving for very much at all because there's lots like on campus keeping them busy, and then sort of venturing out into the local area and kind of getting to know and you know the bus routes and the town and things like that as well. Yeah, it's a really good point though about having if you're renting privately, that is different obviously from the university level accommodation. So hopefully we've helped with that question. Another question about accommodation. Any tips on how to navigate our way from the airport upon arrival? I mean, did either of you use the airport transfer, the pickup service from the university?
Yes.
I didn't get to use it unfortunately because my course is very special. So we were here even before everyone started.
You got a different start date.
Yeah, we got a different start date. So it was quite early, and the date that there was a pickup, I was already here basically. So I didn't get to use it, but I would suggest anyone to use it if they had the chance. Because I had to. I didn't come in through Manchester. I came in through I think Gatwick. But like I said, I have a brother, so I had to go to London first, and then so I could break my journey. But I guess for someone who's just coming in directly, it may be a bit more stressful, I guess. So yeah, if you have the opportunity to get picked up at the airport, do it for sure.
Yeah, especially with like loads of luggage as well.
Yeah, right.
And not knowing where to go. Even when you're on campus, like when you get here, you don't know where.
So, and you just
Darwin
have the bag.
You're just going to try and go and pick up the accommodation, kind of check in to get your key and everything. And that obviously, I guess, for that arrivals time in September typically, particularly for the undergraduate students, the course dates start. And if your course is slightly earlier, isn't it? But a lot of the courses start at a very similar time. Usually it's more or less the same time, where they've got that pickup service from the airport, and then there's kind of a bit of almost like an orientation in terms of where you are in terms of on campus in Keele and getting your accommodation and settled in. And does there still did you do the supermarket trip or anything the first early days when you arrived on campus? Because I know usually like this for international students it's kind of like a bit of a welcome.
I gave one to someone.
Oh, you've done one? Okay.
I gave a supermarket, like a town tour, like a bus tour to someone. But yeah, it's that like pickup service. I think it's just a week before inductions and like freshers week. So that kind of links quite well. Like you settle in for like a few days and then you start going to events and then exploring town.
So good question here around how do you find balancing schoolwork with kind of social life and exploring the UK? How have you both found that?
Ooh.
Because it is a tricky one.
It
Alison, you're like, yes, it's a tricky balance.
It is.
And now I've handed in my dissertation. I don't have to worry about the balance
It's all
anymore.
fine now. It's all good. I think at first it was quite overwhelming, especially in healthcare courses.
It's quite an intense timetable for you
Yeah,
as
and
well,
I'm
isn't
sure
it?
for like postgraduate as well,
Yeah.
because you're only here for like a year or two.
Just a year, and you have
and
to
you want
finish
to
everything.
explore everything and you want to do everything. How do I find it? I think you just get used to it. But like after a few months you just kind of find your people, find what you could do, and then organize your like workload.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the timetable, the schedule. You know, like, I've got a free weekend there. Right, okay, let's go and do this.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's quite a lot of, like you say, Alison, if you're living on campus particularly, or if you're living in student accommodation off campus in that first year as an undergrad, I think that's probably, you have a little bit more opportunity to just, there's random, you know, the social event could be happening that you might just pop along to.
Yeah.
And lots of stuff like going on, you can just kind of drop in and out if you wanted to, if your like your work schedule allows it. And I think as you progress through your degree, perhaps you've been a little bit more structured about. No, I've got study time.
Yeah, you got study time. You got time to have fun. You got time to.
And everyone's like, "No, Alison, come to Cornwall with us. We're going to the beach."
It's usually me telling them like, please come with me. But like, yeah, I think even with like student ambassador work, I think it was really good that it's casual hours because I can organize my time.
Yeah.
And I like it's something different. It's not like work. It's like this is like my downtime kind of. This is
Come to work with us for like a little rest.
Yeah. And yeah, you just find like friends you have like the same hobbies with, and then that's your social time.
Yeah.
And then
I think for me, like what you said about the timetable really works because I find that I'm kind of like an all or nothing kind of person. So when I'm here, supposed to be working, like I'm all in. And then when I go on break, like when we went on the December like winter break, I couldn't think about my course. I couldn't think about anything. So I think, yeah, it's a good idea to probably just like schedule some time to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And don't feel guilty when you're doing that, and then come back and come back to the course and all the coursework and everything. But I'm not really the best person. I'm a little bit more introverted sometimes.
yeah.
So, I can literally stay without doing something active. I have to actually remind myself, oh, you need to actually make time for those things. And when I do it, I realize that, oh my God, I really needed to, go out. I really needed to do this and that. So for me, I would say I would schedule like times when I feel like I need to get away from work and just, socialize and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
So I've got kind of a related question here in terms of any societies around welfare or community work, and how to kind of get involved in that. I mean, obviously, I know that the Students' Union's got a fantastic volunteering scheme. I don't know if either of you have kind of engaged with that, but I know that there is that scheme there. And if you're interested, have a look on the Keele SU website, because there's lots of opportunities to get involved with volunteering if you're interested in kind of getting more involved in the community and doing some voluntary work. I know obviously, Ada, you've mentioned the chapel on campus, and I know that some of the societies, like the Christian Society and things like that, will organise events for other students to kind of engage with and do kind of that sort of a side of things. So lots of opportunity to get involved in that kind of community aspect there. But do take a look at the website to see all the different kinds of societies that we've got and the volunteering opportunities. Couple more questions about accommodation here. So in terms of finding off-campus accommodation and how do you book it without seeing it? I know, Ada, you mentioned the the accommodation team's kind of student pad in terms of finding. So that's where we've got, you know, accredited landlords who've been checked. So, you know, they're meeting certain standards in terms of the accommodation there. So having a look at that probably is the first sort of port of call, I would say, in terms of finding that accommodation. Obviously, there'll be photographs and things on most accommodation websites, I guess. Obviously, it's not going to be as easy to view something if you're not in the country until you arrive. For Keele accommodation on campus, we've got lots of photos. There's our virtual tour that's got kind of 360s, and there'll be little bits of video that you can see of our accommodation. On our accommodation web pages, there is a video. I think you're in that one, Alison, the accommodation one. Where you can see kind of a range of our accommodation in terms of, so you can see inside some of the kitchens, some of the bedrooms, at the outside of some of the accommodation, so you get a bit of a feel of what that's like as well. So perhaps having a look at that sort of thing might help you in terms of making your decision about the accommodation that you're looking for. Couple more questions about IELTS and scores. We've got hello to Ada, someone watching from Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
Couple of questions about have you paid a deposit, how long it takes to issue CAS, and have you got the CAS and that kind of thing there. That's again, if you've got a question specifically about your offer, it's best to contact our admissions team, and they are admissions@keele.ac.uk, and they'll be able to answer any questions that you've got if it's specifically about your offer and the status of your offer. Obviously, within the applicant portal, you should be able to see the status of your application, and you should know, we will have told you if you need to upload any documents or any evidence, so we can issue that final documentation to you in terms of pre-CAS and then deposit, and then CAS is being issued. So do keep checking the portal, but if there's a delay or you're expecting to hear from us, do get in touch with the admissions team and they'll be able to answer any questions. So I think we've covered most of the questions there. There's lots of chat. It looks like people are making friends in the chat here as well. I know, I'm coming, and I'm thinking of applying for here. And what program have you applied for?
Nice.
So that's really nice. So hopefully everyone who has been chatting away, getting to know one another, ready for September. But I think that probably brings us to the end of our questions, so the end of our session today. Thank you so much to Ada and Alison for joining us. Thanks for sharing all of your insights in terms of being an international student at Keele. If you want to find out any more about what it's like being an international student at Keele, or just what it's like to be a student at Keele in general, our website's got all sorts of information available. There's a specific section of the website for international students with lots of useful information on there. There's a specific section on the website all about student life at Keele, covering everything from accommodation, social life, sports, the local area, support from the careers team, lots of different things that you might want to explore in terms of extracurricular or student support whilst you're at Keele. So do have a good look at the website, and if you have any further questions, you can get in touch with us on inquiries@keele.ac.uk, and our inquiries team will be happy to support you in terms of answering any of those questions you have. So thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you at Keele soon.
Yeah.